Hello and welcome to A Stranger in a Strange Place by Mel Pennant. This play is the result of a collaboration exploring a story from our archives about the repatriation of people from the British West Indies in the 1920s, and it focuses on one particular story about Claudius and May Smart. The project has been created in collaboration with Tamasha Theatre, with whom we've been collaborating since 2016. And since then, the National Archives and Tamasha have worked on a number of projects developing short audio plays inspired by our records. Such collaborations with partners go to the heart of what we do, with the National Archives able to provide unique insights through our unique collection of UK records, and our partners helping bring those stories to life. The play is set at the beginning of the 1920s, after the end of the First World War, where we meet Claudius and May Smart, as well as James Gillespie, all people whose records feature in the National Archives collections. The play deals with imperial rights, race-based exclusion, and while part fictionalised, it's inspired by real records in our collection and real people with families, hopes, and aspirations. The story of Claudius Smart and his wife, May, also features in our new 1920s exhibition, which opens in January to coincide with the release of the 1921 census. The exhibition, called The 1920s Beyond the Raw, will be opening on the 21st of January and will be free to visit at our Kew site. I really hope you enjoy listening to the play, and I will now hand over to Sarah Griffiths, our Outreach and Inclusion Manager at the National Archives.
Thank you, Emma Jane. Hello, my name is Sarah, and we're delighted you've been able to join us tonight. Tonight's play is based upon real individuals. They're colonial mariners interacting with the UK government, trying to stay in the country that they fought for, a country that they called home. There are many like them in our records, but most remain nameless. The lives of the women that they married, often British, and the children that they planned to raise in Britain are even more hidden, sadly. However, the subject of tonight's play has a name. His handwritten letter to the Colonial Office asking for assistance has long been sitting in our files waiting to be heard. And like many others, he has a British wife. It is thanks to my colleague Iqbal that we know about Claudius and May Smart. Iqbal has a rare talent for spotting a good story amongst the records and visualising its possibilities. Claudius and May feature in our A-level resource about the post-war events of 1919, which you will find on our education website. But their story warranted something more, an exploration into attitudes towards interracial marriages during the early 20th century. And that is where Tamasha and playwrights like Mel come in. Through imagination, artistic direction, skillful interpretation, and a lot of hard work, these stories leave the page and come to life. Through theatre, we can connect with our couple's emotions as they attempt to stay together. So we would like to start this evening with a short film, just 6 minutes, which explores our partnership with Tamasha in recent work. The play will follow straight after and will last about 30 minutes. This will be followed by a question and answer session, and we welcome all questions and comments. We hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you.
The National Archives is the ultimate library. You are hearing the voices of people from the past. Nobody has heard these voices before.
The first thing that really struck me was how vivid some of these lives appeared on paper.
Fiction plays such an important role in historical work. It's making it human, not just a name, not just a fingerprint. They feel and breathe and sense just like us. The Once British, Always British title came from one of our letters that was written into the Home Office, and it was a plea from a boarding house keeper who basically said that I've got a man who, as far as I'm concerned, is British. And just in the middle of the letter comes this, what I would call a killer line. And I thought, wow, this is a project in itself. There's a lot of fear that's been built up during the war about aliens, the enemy, this whole idea of borders, who can belong, who can't belong. And that's where Once British, Always British then becomes this kind of clarion call for those who are saying, yeah, but hold on, I am British, let's have the debate about it.
My dear Nazma, I finally reached England after weeks on the waves. I'm in a big city called Liverpool now. Ships big as mountains steaming in and out of the port. Sailors from around the world spilling in, streaming along the waterfront. But it's been cold and wet here since I arrived. Even this fireman is shivering.
My story represents that experience of a lot of South Asian men around that time who fought in the First World War. They fought for king, country and empire. But once they got here, the burden of proof of citizenship was placed on them. And that process became increasingly difficult through the 20s, quite deliberately, because the government wanted to make that process much harder for them.
So you claim to be a British subject?
Yes.
Do you have anyone that can vouch for that?
I asked my father, maybe he know.
You don't have a passport, don't have a registration card. I'll have to charge you with landing in the United Kingdom without leave of an immigration officer.
Charge me?
It will go on your record.
Here were people in authority deciding the fate of these people who were not even invited to the conversation. They were not even consulted. So one of the joys of writing this play is to give the sailors a voice, which would have not been appreciated at the time.
The archive inevitably is the voice of the government and its officials. Sometimes it's those silences, what's missing, that often gives us the clues to where our work should go. How else can I tell this story so that it shows another angle?
I think what made it easier for me was trying to parallel Asian Lascar migration in the early 1900s with modern day immigration. I wanted the story to be set in that particular historic time period, but also to be able to exist in a modern context as well.
Why everyone stare?
Because you're in a Scouse pub only drinking water.
What are you doing here with him? No one wants these filthy darkies in this pub. In our house. In our city.
What I often look for is direct address by the people I want to characterize. So I look for documents that have their voice in a way. And of course, it's a formal voice. It's a voice where they're writing to a government or something like that. But it still gives you a flavor of the human being behind the documents. Dear sir, I have come from South Shields to see what you can do for me. I've never had a job since I left my last ship, the steamer Barmore.
On the 23rd of October 1930, I was put off on account of having no registration card. I have no means of a livelihood unless I get a registration card.
And that story happens, very often. People who are called for labor and then discarded. There's just something so ruthless about it. So inhuman.
They were real people, real flesh and blood people. And the way they're often spoken about, they're treated as undesirables, as a nuisance, as a menace. But these are just real people who are trying to make a living, trying to survive.
And I think this is where these types of projects play such a critical role, to give that space for those marginal voices to become centre stage. And at its essence, trying to make our records much more accessible, relevant and important to people who may think there's nothing here for them. These are your stories. They're not the stories of the archive. They're your stories.
Wordless. Useless. Good for nothing. Not as somebody. Not anybody. Worse than useless. Not even a man.
Excuse me. My brother. I'm talking to you, young man.
Leave me alone.
Can I beg you a smoke?
Here.
Thanking you kindly, young man. And could I inconvenience you a little further? If you like. Thanking you kindly, my brother. You a returnee too?
I said to leave me alone.
Easy now, man. Me not mean no harm. So, you're going back freely?
What is it to you?
Me just want to do a little talking is all. You get a little lonely on a big ship like this. So are you? Going back on your own free will?
It depends.
On what?
What you mean by freely?
Mm-hmm. What look like freedom to them look a lot like shock to me. The water, you're rough like a warrior. I sailed it 15 years and I still can't tame it. And you know what? We're a little too close to the edge for my liking, brother. And that you see seen enough of with dead bodies.
Will you best move back then, sir?
You want to step back a little with me?
No.
You'll be doing me a favor. Don't tell nobody, but I can't take both. Perhaps a little you come with, just for 10 minutes or so. It settle my stomach. You see, the thing is, if you going in that sea, it look like I go right in with you, and I can't swim a jet.
Not my problem. Me staying here.
Shaman. We could just have a talk and a smoke. And if you wanted, you could always come back and stand right here, sir. And I won't trouble you again.
I said I'm fine where I am.
In that case, I'll stay right here with you too. And carry on talking to you all the way to Jamaica. It's a long way down it. But not to worry. I can talk for the whole of England.
10 minutes, then you leave me alone.
All right then, young brother. 10 minutes. After that, I won't say another word. Oy. This rum is fire. Oy. Jesus. Me no like boat.
How can that be? You said you've been at sea 15 years.
How many other profession you know that allow a black man to get to the mother country? Here, come. Take some of this.
What's that?
A secret recipe to take the hair from your chest. James Gillespie.
Claudius Smart. You could start a business selling this.
Ah, well, no, you say it. I was in business. Selling refreshments and sauce of fish and chips.
In England?
In Wales. A place called Kazakhstan. I lived there with my daughter and my wife Annie.
Your wife, she was a white woman?
Mm-hmm. The business wasn't much, but it was enough for me and my Annie. Our very own corner at the British Isles.
That sound nice for you.
It was nice. But them bonnet down to rotted. Everything gone. Just like that.
You lost your business?
I lose everything.
Sorry.
But it's not me about for jumping at the sea. So what's your story, young brother?
I was living in a boarding house in Liverpool with my wife and son.
Take her to Jamaica where the rum comes from. The rum comes from. The rum comes from. Take her to Jamaica where the rum comes from. And you will have some fun. It's better than
When we get to Jamaica, Claude, can we live in one of them big houses?
We can live wheresoever you want, my love. I was sitting at the table trying to write a letter, but with me at the stove, I couldn't stop but look upon her.
Focus, Claude. Focus.
To my most dearest. To my most dearest and excellent. To my most dearest and humblest excellency. It is with humble abode that I, Claudius.
For heaven's sake, Claude, just write the thing. Ask Churchill for the money.
It is with humble abode that I address you about a matter which concerns my current circumstance.
Why are you doing that? Don't throw it away.
I feel right.
What doesn't?
Begging.
It's your right. It says here, coloured men can ask for repatriation to be sent back home. can write to the Colonial Office and ask for money for repatriation for them and the families. Well, that's us, isn't it? That's all right, Claude, from Mr. Churchill. Start again. Write it. Go on. Let them know why it's so important.
I address you about a matter which concerns the most severest of circumstance.
That's right. It is. Life or death.
I respectfully write on the matter of my predilection. She returned to the stove, mixing the pot. I was watching the way her hips moved as she leaned from side to side, listening to me dictating that damn begging letter. Since when do I beg? My dearest sir.
You don't talk to me like that. Dearest, humblest.
You may are not the governor of the Colonial Office.
Oh, so I don't deserve your most humblests and dearestnesses.
She came over to the table. She looked at the paper with my writing on it and I felt such shame. I reached out and pulled her close. You, May, are my wife. You deserve the world. And I love you, May. I love you. I smell her hair. You are my sweetness, May.
And you are my life, Claudius Smart.
Sounds like you were well and truly in love, my young brother.
I was. She kissed me, and I squeezed her body, and I was reminded of the first time we kissed. I was working at the timber yard by the docks. I never noticed the big man's daughter before, but then she just seemed to become a woman.
Oi!
What?
If my pa catches you, he'll...
I'm his best worker.
And if he catches you trying to get off with his favourite daughter, he'll have you fired and beaten to a pulp. You won't be able to work nowhere near these yards again.
So let's not get caught then.
Stop it.
Shall I call him over now then? Mister, big man, sir.
Shh. Stop it.
So you don't want me to be caught. That's because you care about this Jamaican man, don't you? You want to know about my Jamaica?
Mm.
The sky is pure blue. And in summer, not a cloud. And you have all kind of tree. Mango, bamboo, mahogany, coconut, palm, almond.
Oi, mister, snap out of it. Will you let go of me?
I tell her she is mine forever. You are mine forever. I smell her hair again. It smells like the sea.
Will you let go of me? Because if you don't, the pot will boil over and we'll have no supper.
I give her a final squeeze and release her. I watch her walk back to the stove and my heart sinks.
Mention what you did in the war.
I served in the Marine Engineers. It is with gracious service that I give the motherland 7 months of my hard labor.
And mention all the other jobs you've done. How hard you've worked.
I have been a ship hand.
And worked in timber yards.
And I worked as an assistant in my father's hardware shop in Bethany, Jamaica.
I can put my hand to anything if given the chance. But say how now you can't get any work. How you've been going out every day to look because you're not lazy.
Why you say that?
Because you're not lazy, are you?
No. No, I'm not.
So, what was that?
I just didn't want me to start thinking about me the way all of them do. Every day I went out to look for work, and every day I got turned away and came back with nothing in my hand but cuts and bruises. I just didn't want her thinking it was for lack of trying. Now I am without resource, and it's getting worse by the day. If something is not done speedily, we must surely starve to death. The wolves, so to speak, will be at the door, and only the workhouse will await us. I raised my head to see her standing straight and staring in front. She always hate to hear about the workhouse. No more stirring the pot, no more swaying at the hips, and my pen was still.
I don't want you to mention that word in my presence.
But I will do everything in my power as a man to ensure that that never happen. None of my family will ever end up in no workhouse.
I said don't mention that word.
I would rather give my life than see that happen to my family. She started to stir the pot again. I humbly ask in the sincerest of depositions that your office see fit to provide me safe passage back to the British West Indies and my native Jamaica.
And don't forget to mention that they need to pay the fare for your wife, May Frances Patricia Smart, and our young son Ronald Smart too. We're a family.
With humblest respect, I ask of thee, signing off, yours truly and respectfully, thanking in anticipation a most loyal son of our mother country. Forever yours, Claudius A. Smart.
Will you have some porridge and tea before your son wakes?
Thank you.
I'm sorry it's not more.
Chaman, everything good. A feast for your king. You do wonders, me.
Tell me again about Bethany and your Jamaica.
The sun is like gold.
And it will kiss my skin.
The sky is pure blue.
And in summer, there's not a cloud. You said there's so many trees. Mango, bamboo, mahogany, coconut, palm, almond.
No one is left to starve me.
You said there's yams and corn and plantain, dashing, ackee, bammy. Am I saying it right? Is it bammy?
Bammy, yes. Make from cassava.
Cassava. Even saying it makes my mouth water. I so want to go, Claude.
He's the bummy I miss. You have another smoke in my young brother?
Yeah, of course. Here.
So the father found out about the two, I don't know.
Me fell pregnant. Mr. Sears, sir.
You're not due in today, Claude. It's your day off. Hey, you didn't do a bad job on that batch that came in yesterday.
Thank you, sir.
And we've got another batch scheduled for tomorrow. You do the same. Be a bonus in it for you, my lad.
Thank you, sir.
Well, was there something else, Claude?
Actually, sir, there was.
Well, spit it out.
It's about me.
My May?
Yes, sir. You're me. The thing is, I'd like your consent to marry her.
You? Marry my May?
Yes, sir.
Is this a joke?
No, sir. We got married just before the baby was born, without his consent.
I'm telling you, if you marry that lazy, godforsaken darky, I'll cut you off, May Sears. Yeah, so help me God, you will be dead to me. Do you hear me? Dead.
Mia wasn't wrong. I never did manage to get another job on the docks.
So it's like you were well and truly stuck then, my young brother.
It didn't matter where I went or who I spoke to, there'd be a sign saying men wanted. I'd approach asking for the very same job they was advertising. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. My name is Claudius, sir. I've worked on ships during the war and for the past 3 years in the timber yards. I understand you're looking for men.
We are.
Well, I can do anything. Wash floors, aisle equipment, work the stores. No work is too hard. The white man wouldn't look at me, but see it.
We're looking for men, I said.
During the war, I worked...
Didn't you hear me? We're not looking for none of your lot.
Then I'd get ready. File my fist by my side. I'm not looking for any trouble, mister. I just want a job.
Hey, did you hear that, lads? This one's not looking for any trouble. He just wants a job. Our jobs. To get off with our women. And to take our money. And then he says he's not looking for no trouble. No trouble, mate.
And before I know it, there's 3, 5, 6, 10 of them and only one of me. It better to be a live dog than a dead lion, so I run.
Get him! Come on! Get over here! Get back in now, Darky! Come on! Get back in now!
Hey, what's the problem? Can't you run anymore, Darky?
Kick his head in! Go on!
Why, you're not telling me anything new, dear brother.
How could I have survived that?
Claude? Oh my God. Claude, you're bleeding. Sit down. Oh, look at your face. What's happened?
It ain't nothing.
But look at you. Oh my God, Claude, your eye. Claude. When the letter comes back from the Colonial Office, it'll all be okay. Claude.
Leave me alone.
We're going to see where your grandpa works, Ron. I'm bigger than all them lot, Ron. Don't ever be ignorant like them. It's all right, Ron. Mummy's just resting. Does anyone have a sip of water for me and the baby?
Be ashamed of yourself.
Anyone?
Disgraceful. Would you? It's not going to school with my kids, I'll tell you that.
They're whispering because they've never seen such a beautiful baby as you before. Hey? You can piss off! All of you! Hello? Pa? I thought I might see Mother. I could go to the house. If you say she'll let me in. I just want to see her. You could turn, Dad. You could face me.
That is?
This is Ronald, Dad. Say hello, Ron.
My God.
He's got your eyes.
Get out.
Please, Pa. We've got nothing.
I said get out.
You could give Claude a job. He'll take anything. We'll end up in the workhouse.
Get out! Your mirror reminds me of my Annie. So, me wanted the father to give you back your job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jesus Christ, that wasn't going to happen.
And then finally the letter came from the colonial office.
What's that? It's come. Oh, praise. Let's have a look.
No, May.
What are you doing? What's wrong? I don't understand.
They only want me to go.
But that's not the plan. It's the three of us. You, me, and the baby. We're a family. We'll be fine without their help. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Okay?
There is nothing here for me, May.
Don't say that. There's me. There's Ron. We are all we need. Of course there is, Claude. Of course there is. I'll get some porridge.
For God's sake, May, there's nothing to put in that pot!
Mr. Smart. Mrs. Smart. Please take a seat.
Thank you for seeing us, Constable.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, let's get straight to the heart of the matter.
Yes, let's.
I'm afraid I'm unable to help you.
But we're a family. I'm his wife. This is our son.
Yes, I'm fully aware of your circumstances, but what you're asking is an impossibility.
Impossible?
Have you thought of the effects?
What effects?
On you, Mrs. Smart. You see, the climate of the tropics isn't suited to someone of your disposition.
Tell him I'll be fine, Claude. Claude? My husband has told me all about the climate, about the food and where we'll live. He'll get his old job back in his father's shop. We'll live with his parents to start with. So there's no reason that I can't live in Jamaica. It's all sorted.
It's not as simple as that, I'm afraid, Mrs. Smart.
You'd rather see us in the workhouse?
Well, perhaps you should have thought of that before.
Before what?
In order for him to go, you, as his wife, will need to provide your consent.
My consent?
And once you've provided your consent, Mrs. Smart will happily send him back to his own country.
I'd never do that. Claude!
Right. He can take part in the scheme as soon as you provide your consent. But we shan't pay for you to go, Mrs. Smart. It's against the rules.
Rules? Say something. Claude?
But you didn't say anything.
No.
And she couldn't understand why.
He was there in his uniform with his papers telling me what was what. It wasn't for me to tell him what was what. I didn't even want to write that damn letter. The only thing I could think to do was to go back to the father.
The father?
Mr. Sears. Sir. Mr. Sears. I wanted to talk to you about me.
You get out, or I'll call the constable.
I want what you want, Mr. Sears.
I won't tell you again!
I want her to let me go. Will you promise to look after them both when I'm gone?
So, how did you get me to consent to you going? She doesn't look like the kind of woman that will let you go easy.
Well...
Why didn't you speak up for us?
Me.
Why didn't you tell that stupid constable to put his rules where it hurts?
Me.
Why didn't you defend yourself? Why didn't you defend us?
Please.
You let him talk to you like you were nothing.
It's not...
We'll write another letter directly to Mr. Churchill because this isn't fair. We'll keep writing letters until someone realises what's happening.
May.
Realises that what they're doing is wrong.
No more letters, May.
I'll do it now.
I don't feel the same way anymore.
What?
I don't feel the same way about us.
Claude?
I don't love you anymore, May.
Oh dear. So she gave her consent to let you leave, and here you are.
Yes.
And that's why you want to jump in at the sea?
I never thought his hatred of me could run so deep. I thought once he knew I was gone, that he would save them. But it's because of me that she's in a one place that she never wanted to be.
She's in the workhouse?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
I failed them. Useless as a husband. Useless as a father. Worthless. Worse than...
Now you're talking stupidness, man. You do love her, don't it?
Of course I do. With all my heart.
And you love your son?
He is my heart.
Then you're lucky, man. You got your family. If mine was still here, I'd move heaven and earth to be with them.
Your family is gone.
I lost everything in that fire, young brother. It took more than you can ever imagine.
You lost your family.
And here you are throwing away yours.
Your loyal... No. Your son. No. Yours respectfully. No.
Somebody serving here or what?
Yours respectfully. No.
This is the only hardware shop in Bethany, Jamaica, isn't it?
Be with you in a few minutes, sir.
I only need 10 minutes, young man.
Mr. Gillespie!
I come to look for you. I see you didn't end up in the sea after all. Whoa, hold on, Lick. You're going to shake my hand off of my arm.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know how I could ever... You saved my life.
No, man. I just help you see it for what it is.
Mr. Gillespie, could you help me? I've been trying to write this letter. I'm sending it to the colonial office. Can I read it to you?
Good.
Dear sirs, I write to inform you that I have now saved enough money to send for my dearest beloved wife, May Smart, and my son, Ronald Claudius Smart, of my own accord.
No, that's what I'm talking about, young man.
It has been 10 long months since I was repatriated under Mr. Churchill's scheme, and at first it was hard to persuade my wife to trust me again. But many letters later, we are strong. I have worked every day since my return, working as many shifts as I can, and I am now able to earn £12 and 15 shillings per month.
Ooh, lazy? Which part?
I therefore write to inform you that I don't need your money to enable my family to exist.
You found your vice, young man.
I don't need your charity or permission.
No, who is telling who what is what?
I will be sending for my beloved wife and son to join me in my home in Jamaica. I have a family and I intend to look after them to the fullest.
See that's all.
Please feel free to respond or otherwise to this letter. But please be rest assured my family will be together whatever your scheme rules dictate.
You don't need my help, young brother. The letter is perfect, man.
I just don't know how to end it, Mr. Gillespie. How to sign off.
What you mean?
When I went to England, I was full of dreams.
Me too.
But when I was there, I couldn't even feed my family. I was a stranger in a strange place. I don't feel the same way about it anymore. You understand, Mr. Gillespie?
I understand exactly, brother.
I don't know how to sign off the letter.
So what are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything anymore, Mr. Gillespie.
Then you sign off as you see fit, young man. In A Stranger in a Strange Place by Mel Pennant, the role of Claudius was played by Hayden McLean. The role of May was played by Samantha Orton. The role of James was played by Ricky Fearon, and the role of Mr. Sears, Dockman and Constable by Rob Jarvis. All other parts were played by members of the company. The director was Anastasia Osei-Kuffour, with sound designed by Yarik Zaba, and composition by DJ Ward. Dramaturgy was by Finn Kennedy, and the producer was Debo Adebayo. A Stranger in a Strange Place was a Tamasha production for the National Archives. Special thanks to Iqbal Singh and Sarah Griffiths at the Archives. For more information, please visit www.tamasha.org.uk.